The Holy Knights are finally face to face with the Straw Hats. And Rox D. Xebec was on Elbaph, as Loki wanted to join his crew.
Wow, man. Damn.
Welcome back to the Grand Line Fantasy, everyone. One Piece, Chapter 1145 just dropped. And as always, Oda raised more questions, rather than giving us the answers to the previous ones. But still, it was a pretty amazing chapter. So, let's dive straight into it then. The chapter starts in the underworld, where Luffy and Loki's group is attacked by a giant dinosaur beast, as the beast is about to attack them. We see Goldberg, one of the members of the new giant warrior pirates, talking to his shield. Now, since the time the character of Goldberg was introduced to us in a cover story, there have been many speculations about his shield and its powers, which also has a literal face, by the way. Some said it was a devil fruit power, and others said that it was Big Mom's powers. Well, Oda finally revealed the answer in this chapter. The shield, which has a name, and is called Nash, who is a homie. It was brought to life by Big Mom's devil fruit powers. Now, I thought this made sense, but actually, later in the chapter, Goldberg says that this shield belonged to his father, and he used it in the incident against Big Mom's hunger attack on Elbaph. Now, she didn't have the soul fruit during that time. Mother Caramel was the one who possessed that fruit. So maybe it was Mother Caramel who gave Nash a soul. It's all a bit confusing and weird. Also, this theory or idea is not mine. I saw this in Tekking 101's latest chapter review. The credit goes to him. For any One Piece fans who don't know him, he is like one of the original One Piece YouTubers. Check out his channel for super detailed theories and chapter reviews. Anyway, moving on. The giant beast then attacks Goldberg. Nash, the shield, grows big in size, even bigger than Goldberg himself, to stop the attack, and then the beast is blocked by the shield. Zoro and Sanji jump in to finish off the beast. They use this combo attack, which they have used often previously in the story, like in Davy Back fight against Foxy Pirates, and on Thriller Bark against Oars. It's always nice to see them work together like this. Sanji launches Zoro, kicking him towards the beast, and Zoro then slashes through its neck, after the defeat of the beast. Goldberg talks about cooking it. Again, Oda reminds us that Goldberg is the cook of the new giant warrior pirates. Then they talk about the shield, which we discussed previously. Sanji then mentions Zeus, to which Nash immediately reacts. Apparently he somehow knows Zeus. I don't know if that's possible. Like, when did they even interact? I thought Zeus was created much later in the story. Unless I am being an idiot and have missed something. If I am, please do correct me in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. Elsewhere, Loki tells everyone about the God's Knights and how he was attacked by them. Amidst this, Luffy is intrigued and slightly confused, as this is the first time he has heard anything about Holy Knights or God Knights. But this is Luffy we are talking about. The very next moment, he has completely moved on from that topic. Goldberg then starts the preparation for cooking the giant beast. While Zoro and Sanji bicker with each other, Zoro wants to make it clear that he was the one who took down that beast, and Sanji makes this hilarious comment about a flying broccoli in the sky. The food is then ready. Luffy takes the giant piece of meat and almost smacks Loki with it. Of course, Luffy is trying to feed Loki here, but Loki is not having any of it. As Loki is recovering from the meat attack, Luffy then hits him with a giant pot of boiling soup, making it much worse. Now, this Luffy-Loki banter reminds me of the time when Luffy and Zoro met for the first time. Like, there are so many similarities here. Zoro was also tied up when they first met. Luffy helped release Zoro. Even the way in which Luffy is trying to help Loki, but ends up hitting him, just like the relationship Luffy and Zoro have had throughout their journey. I thought that was interesting. Maybe Oda is trying to hint at something, or maybe I am looking too much into this. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts on this in the comments. Gerd is so happy that Loki is hurt. She even gives us a thumbs up for that. Hilarious. Zoro then reminds Luffy about the promise that Loki made about Shanks and his whereabouts. Hearing this, Loki responds, he wasn't lying about that. He is just waiting for them to free him completely, releasing the last shackle on his leg. Loki talks to Luffy about how even he understands the feeling of looking up to someone, to which Hiruden's reaction is very intriguing. We then get a blurry flashback of Kid Loki asking a certain pirate to take him with them on their ship. And who is this certain pirate? Why, it's of course Rox D. Xebec, the captain of the Rox Pirates. He was apparently on the island of Elbaph long ago. Based on the timeline and Loki's age, again referring to Tekking 101. This interaction must have happened before the God Valley incident. because we see Whitebeard with him, and we know Rock's pirates were annihilated on God Valley, and Rock supposedly died there. So, before God Valley then, Loki asks to go with them, but Rox refuses him. Also, he says something interesting here. He says he didn't come all the way here to take a brat like you. So, firstly, this interaction is definitely taking place on Elbaph. And secondly, Rox apparently came to Elbaph looking for something. Now that something could be a road pwn glyph, or perhaps something else, who knows. Now, after little Loki challenged Rox for a fight, the outcome was pretty obvious. Rox destroyed Loki, leaving him covered in blood and stabbed on the ground. We also see a silhouette of Whitebeard confronting Rox about beating up a kid. But Rox is not hearing any of it. He tells Whitebeard to shut up and walks away. And the flashback ends. Now, this tells us something about Captain Rox's character. He was definitely ruthless and ill-tempered. I genuinely cannot wait to learn more about him and see his full reveal. Loki at the end then says the same thing that Roger said at Laughtail, about how he was born in the wrong era. Now, I don't know if there are similarities between these same sentences, but I just thought I should mention that. Moving on to the second half of the chapter, the battle between the giant warrior pirates, alongside Gabon and the monsters, is still on. The giants are working their way through a number of those dream monsters very quickly. We also see Gabon fighting the Loki monster and the other beasts. While Gabon is cleaning up, he senses the Holy Knights, all three of them. Actually, here he says he can hear their voices. I still think he means like sensing their presence, but it could also mean something different. Elsewhere, the firefighting unit is trying hard to defuse the fire on the 8th branch. As we see, Saul has managed to defeat the dream monster Fenrir and is now calling the fire unit for help. Because now, the kids are way closer to the fire and are about to walk straight into it. You can hear the fear and worry in Saul's voice here. As this is going on, we see Gunko and Summers watching all this chaos happening from above. And Gunko here says some pretty messed up things, like talking about screaming children, burning them to the bone, and their terrified parents. This was pretty dark. Also to the people who are speculating that if Gunko is secretly a Revolutionary Army officer, I think that really may not be the case here. Because no matter how undercover she may be inside the Holy Knights, no Revolutionary Army officer would let kids walk straight into the fire or cause them any harm. So I don't think she isn't revolutionary. Now, I can see a counter-argument that maybe Gunko redirects the kids at the very last moment if no one saves them. That could very well have happened. So I'm not completely against that theory, but I also think that it is not the case. And if Gunko wasn't enough, we have another maniac here. Summers saying, "Isn't that touching?" about Gunko's horrifying remarks, laughing his ass off. These Holy Knights have the potential to be just as messed up and disgusting as the Celestial Dragon. Even more, if I'm being honest. Even with all the efforts of the fire unit, the fire just won't go out. The kids are about to walk straight in, as we see Saul's terrified face losing all hope. But here comes Jimbe, the first son of the sea, with his sea cloud current shoulder throw. He yeets a giant laser of water towards the fire, just in time. All the water splashes down on the fire, putting the massive fire out. We see Nami, Brook, and Usopp arriving at the scene at the same time. They are absolutely overjoyed with Jimbe's amazing save. He then hops on with them on the ship. We also see the shocked and relieved reactions of all the giants and the Straw Hats. But the job is not done yet. Even if the fire is out, the kids are still walking towards the ships. Colin thanks Jimbe for saving his friends. As we see, Gunko has boarded their ship out of nowhere. And now, the Straw Hats are finally face to face with the Holy Knights. It is finally happening. What will Gunko do? What will the Holy Knight do? And would the Straw Hats be able to stop them? Or will they be defeated? To get the answers to these questions, we have to wait for another week, as we have a break week. Come on, Oda, so many cliffhangers. Also, Gunko is now face to face with Brook, the maker of her favorite song. Will she realize that? What will her reaction be? Again, more questions, but all we can do is wait and speculate. Overall, another jam-packed chapter by Oda. Can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this chapter review, do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down your thoughts, theories, and opinions about the chapter. Your support means the world to me. Check out my One Piece Final Battle series, where I speculate on how I would like the final battle of One Piece to unfold. If you are interested, the link for that is in the description below. Until next time, keep dreaming big and sailing the Grand Line.